Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of Convos with Friends, and it's me, Michael Shobowale, and in this podcast we just talk to friends about different life scenarios, life, career, time management, finance, and all those good stuff that will actually help out in life. And today I've got with me Sambo, and we're going to talk about education with Sambo. So I think I should allow him to introduce himself as an education expert.
And I guess big background education wise, my bachelor's degree is in economics, and I had I studied in the US, so I had two minors in information systems and mathematics. Then I also have a master's degree in economics as well. But yeah, I'm excited to see what Shobo has in terms of questions for this podcast. I guess having two degrees is nothing out of the ordinary, but
yeah,
I guess I have some understanding of education, and we'll see. Yeah, excited to be here. Thanks for having me, Michael.
Yeah, man, no problem. I definitely know that when you definitely took the education thing, if like some people say, on your head. so
I mean, what can I say? I'm Nigerian. Like,
said
you
that,
have no option. But
yeah, you have no option, man. You have to definitely carry it on your head, man. So,
right.
I mean, this episode is sort of a different episode because we're actually doing this episode while playing FIFA. So, just to make it as casual as possible, to make it as natural and so as good as possible. So, I mean, it's testing it out and see how it goes. So maybe we should just start with the first question. What does
This is a special episode. That's what you're saying. I think they need to hear it exactly like that.
Okay, so this is a special episode with Sambo, and yeah, I hope you all hear that. It's a special episode actually because it's the beginning of a new season of this
Right.
This podcast. So maybe we should start with this question and just ask, like, what does education mean to you, or what does success in education mean to you?
Absolutely. I think education is just simply like the means of acquiring knowledge. I know, like, recently, like, when you ask most people, when you talk about education, the first thing they think about is school. But that would be, which is fair. Like, yeah, school is, you're acquiring education at school. That's what schools are there for. But that's like the more, I guess, formal education. But if you think about it, like, from beginning of time, there's always been some sort of education going on. Not necessarily like in a formal setting as a school. I mean, I guess at some point they had schools, obviously. But yeah, there's always, I would just simply put it as a means of acquiring knowledge, or passing down knowledge, either formal setting or informal setting.
So what about the success part? Like, when someone says, I've succeeded in education or in learning something, like, what does that mean? What does that mean entirely?
Oh, I definitely missed the part where you said, what does success in education mean? I just thought you said, what does education mean to you? No, that's fair. Like, yeah, so success would be, were you able to achieve the education you were seeking? Like, if you're in a technical school, for example, trying to learn how to weld things or how to be a plumber, like, can you successfully go to someone's house and serve as a plumber? If you're in a more, like the traditional, I guess, more popular education now, like when you're, pursuing your degree, were you able to achieve your degree and be able to showcase the knowledge you claim that you acquired? Like, it's not just a matter of getting a certificate, but what does that certificate say about you? Can you prove that, like, yes, you deserve that certificate? So that would be success, at least in my own definition. But also, like, like the same way I made the distinction between, getting a degree and being like, going for something more technical. So it definitely varies. But I just use those two examples to like say what success will mean in either cases.
But can we just go back like 10 years and just try and go on your journey of how have you been viewing education, like, recently, and how does that mean, like, maybe 10 years ago, how did you view education, and what's your current view on education at this point?
No, absolutely. That's a fair question. Like 10 years ago, like, for me, it's like, yeah, I definitely need to go to university, you need to get this degree. Or like that's only one way. Like if you know your end goal, if you know what you want to do in life, the one sure way of achieving that is by going to university or like some advanced education, right, in a formal setting. But my view right now is like, yeah, you don't necessarily have to do that. Like, if you see the way like most things like career wise, like what people are gravitating towards is like computer science, like the more technical side of things, in terms of like computer science, programming, data science, those sort of things. There's so many people that have boycotted that traditional method of education where you go to like you're done with secondary school, high school, you go to university, you get your degree, you get your masters. You have those different steps. But I've come to learn that you don't need to take all those steps. Like you can, you've heard of instances, or at least I can speak for myself. I've heard of instances where people just, after secondary school, they just went ahead and learned like how to program, how to do web design on their own, and they're making a career out of it. So I feel like that's how my view has changed. But in all situations, like I'll still consider it education. Like but that's not people's number one go-to. Like even if you're self-taught, like you're getting those resources from somewhere else, you're figuring it out on your own, you're acquiring knowledge, right? So if you take two sticks, if you take two sticks on your left hand, take three sticks on your right hand, and you're like, oh, how do I make this together? And you do 2 + 3 is 5. Nobody told you, but you use your common knowledge. you use some form of knowledge. That's still education. So even though if it's something that you self-taught and you figured it out yourself, that's still some sort of education.
Well, do you remember how it was when you realized that getting that degree wasn't necessarily a qualification for any job?
I mean, not from personal experience, but like I've heard from like just friends, classmates, where they have the degree in. Let me think of something. They have a degree in accounting, for example, but then if you put them at an accounting firm, they really don't know what they're doing, right? It's sometimes like depending on where you acquire education from, most places don't do a good job of. I think they don't do a good job of like mimicking how things would be exactly in the real world. So everything seems very like academic, right? I mean, which is fair. Like that's what it should be, but they don't do a good way of like teaching you like, okay, in real world, how do you do this? For example, a good example is in Nigeria too. For example, like most people, you go to universities in Nigeria, most universities, especially the public ones, they're all about theories. But because like education in Nigeria is very, I don't say redundant, but it definitely doesn't keep to modern changes. So most people still learning the same thing their grandparents learned while they were in school. It's very theoretical. So yes, you know the theory, but then how can you put it to practice? And then that certificate is lacking because exactly that. Go on.
That's always been the main issue, like having to learn all those things, but no practical knowledge. Like these things are not, you cannot use them industrially. Like nobody's going to employ you because you have a master's in so and so. Like, can you code in Python, or can you actually like check data? Can you actually do something like something that is going to bring business value? Is that what you can do?
Yeah, that's exactly. And just going off that, like you see situations where you learn something one way, right? You're given like a very specific scenario, like or you've dealt with certain kind of scenarios, right? And then something else changes, not the usual scenario you're working with. So how can you adapt to what you've learned to find a solution to this new scenario that you've never encountered? So at that point, then you just have a certificate, but it doesn't really mean much. And that's why if you see like when most job applications, yes, they see you have a degree in say web design, right? But then on your resume or your CV, they see you have a degree in web design. But is that good enough to get you a job? Yeah, maybe it is, but most places will like to ask you for a portfolio, right? They like to say, okay, show us previous stuff you've done. Okay, yeah, now we see the previous thing you've done, or we have this assessment for you to take, so that yeah, we see. But I mean, it's almost like they're not saying you're lying, but also you got to prove it. Like, so you say you can do this, but you got to prove it. So that's why they give you assessment. All right, yes, we've designed this assessment because we feel like whoever is going to take this role should be able to carry out this you should be able to, pass the assessment, because then we know that you'll be successful in this role. So yeah, so it's nice to have certificates, but at the same time, it's, like, can you really defend what that certificate is about? And even for me, from personal experience, I feel like that's something I could have done more of. Like, I have so many things on my resume, but like, quiz me on a random day, can I, will I be able to successfully defend what I'm saying? We'll see. It depends on what you ask. But yeah.
Someone said that, like, the purpose of, like, the reason why you're going to school is not actually to get that certificate, but it's actually to gain, like, knowledge, to be able to use in the real world. What do you have to say about that?
I mean, I agree. I mean, I would say yes, that should be the number one reason. So it could be also a situation where, now let's go back to, an example I gave about, like, someone teaching themselves how to web design, right? Yes, you have a portfolio. I mean, I guess things have changed recently, right? But in the past, I'll say like 10 years ago, most companies won't hire someone that is self-taught, right? They won't hire someone without a 4-year university college degree, right? But now, like, things have slowly evolved that you see places like, I don't want to, but like big tech, like there's some big tech firms that will hire somebody that, yes, you didn't have a 4-year degree, but we know you can do what we need you to do. So come on, come join us. So in that case, right? So now going back 10 years ago, someone that can do they can do all, like, the web design, whatever it is, like, they can do the job, right? But they don't have a college degree. Then them going to school is not necessarily to acquire the knowledge, but just to get that certificate, just so that, when they go for interviews or when they're trying to get their own personal, maybe not zero, but you don't have good enough to, like, be comfortable going into industry, going to academia to, practice what you're passionate about or what you're trying to acquire the knowledge of.
But there was something you mentioned in one of our previous discussions that we have had,
Wait, are you going to talk about the previous discussions?
There was something you mentioned about about how, like, in school, like, you were sort of forced to make a decision on what you wanted to do with your life at a very young age.
Oh yeah, man, that's crazy, right? Like, think about it, man. Like, it's the way it's structured is like, yeah, secondary school in Nigeria by SS1. If you go to, like, a Nigerian secondary school, it doesn't necessarily apply to those that, like, went to British or, like, American schools. But
yeah.
For those of us that went to, like, Nigerian secondary school, think about it by JSS3. What? How old were we? 13?
Yeah, 13, 14.
The ones that do 45 ages.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, like at 13, you're faced with that decision. Like, okay, what do I want to do? Science, art. What's the other thing? Science, art, social science.
Yeah, science, art, social science.
You're right. So you're being faced with that decision, and I feel like most people, you're not equipped to know exactly what you want to do. Because yes, I guess the main idea is by the end of junior secondary school, you've taught, like, on everything, right? You did, like, into science, you did, like, intro tech. So if you want to go, like, into architecture, you've had some design experience. If you want to go into social science, you took social studies. Yes, all of that, but you're pretty much deciding the path of your career at 13 years old. Because think about it, for someone that thought, like, oh, maybe I want to be a lawyer, so I'm going to go the arts route, right? And then later on, I'm like, this is too much reading, it's too much argument, it's a lot of, legal things that I have to deal with. By SS2, they're thinking, like, nah, this is not for me. Like, I think I really want to pursue medicine, right? How do you make that switch? It's almost like, man, you have to, especially how do you make that switch trying to go into a Nigerian university? Nah, it's very unheard of that you you progress without having to go back to like SS1, or go back to SS1, get those foundational things that you missed, right? Or I guess if you're I guess for those that are like super brilliant, like you can go study what you need to do then, but you have to retake exams. So let's say it's after SS3, you have to go retake those secondary school senior exams to get admission, because nobody by like justified means, right, will admit you like into a Nigerian school, you coming off like being an attendant to like School of Medicine. So I believe my point with that is, especially from the last discussion, is like they're making you make like such an important decision at such an early age, one, and it's very rigorous. Like you can't be flexible. So, and that's why it's very different from like American going to college in the US, like, or most other places. Yes, you're an art student, but hey, what do you need to do? Like they'll make you, even if you come out with like, as long as you've been admitted, you can switch at any time, right? Yes, that would mean retaking some classes that you probably didn't take it before, but it's not like so rigid, like you have to go do everything again. Maybe they'll put you like, maybe in your second year, they put you like, it's not like they're making you repeat, like go back to first year, but they say, hey, you need to take just a couple more classes, right? So that way you're not slowing down the time you need to be in school. You might be doing extra work, right? But yeah, it's just a lot more flexible to be able to pursue something that you realize, oh, I want to do this. And I feel like that's how it should be in life. Like if today I feel like I don't want to do, and I guess I've seen like, I know people that have made switches, right? Like I know someone that, they've been an engineer all their life and they're like, nah, I don't want to do engineering. I want to go into nursing. What do I need to do? Right? They just went back to school for 2 years and they're a nurse. Like, and the only reason they went back to school is just to take those nursing classes, right? Like related classes from the engineering degree, so counted.
And just to like add to that, there's some like many of us as Nigerians, we basically went to school trying to please our parents and trying to get this career or get school done with for our parents. Mm-hmm. So, but as we go and we grow like older, like we realize that I have to actually like do something for myself. I'm in the engineering journey, but I don't like it. I'm failing at it. Like I could just easily, although it's not easy because you have been in engineering for so long, maybe 5 years, and then the switch is always difficult. But just to like move on and go along a different discussion. I mean, school wasn't all that bad, right? Like, what did you actually enjoy most about school? When I say school, I mean, from high school, university, like entirely.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think for me it was, yes, the education was great. But also it's just like the social aspect that often gets neglected. Like most of my best friends, like they all came from secondary school. Like I'm on this podcast because I know you from secondary school. And it's just like I just made like, I feel like I've made like my day one home is definitely from secondary school. So it's just like definitely like good experience, and just especially going to like a boarding school is just like the things we went through, the pleasant and unpleasant things. It's like bonded us for life. In college, it's more of yes, the education was great, but also like the exposure to like through like internships, meeting people in the career path I was considering, learning from the experience. Like that's very, I guess, underrated. So I think for me, like just definitely like where my highlights of it, highlights of my education, it's just like the whole experience was mostly good. It wasn't all, I guess roses, but roses have thorns. So,
so you really enjoyed the networking part of school. Like it gave you access to meet people that were going your direction. In the same.
Right. So even not necessarily just people that like were in school with me. Like oftentimes like how they will have students that graduated from the school come talk to you.
Yeah. Alumni.
Networking with alumni, networking with just like that environment definitely provides that, and also just another thing, like why I guess school is the way it is. It's not just all about like, yeah, like, most people, they can go ahead and hire their own professors and do, if you have the money, of course you can go hire professors that will personally teach you what you need to know, and you be on your own path. Like, you have your own setup for the job. But the one part that is missing is like, seeing what other people think about different subject matters, like learning from others. Because school, you don't go to school and you don't go to school coming knowing everything, right? Like, even trust me, like even the people that teach, like the lecturers, the professors, they don't come knowing everything. They also learn from the students. Like, unless they're not like, if they're good at what they do, like teaching, they should also be able to learn from the students. No matter what it is they're teaching, it's also a learning experience for them. If it's not a learning experience for them, it should at least be a relearning experience for them. Having to experience this where your professor is going to do something, and then they take pause. Like, how do you do this again? Because they probably not taught that course for the last 6 years, and then they have to teach it now because the other professor that is there is on maternity leave.
Yeah.
It's just like hypothetical situation.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not hypothetical, but real life example.
Yeah, it could happen. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, what about the other part of it now? Like, what did you hate the most about school? You know, maybe the arrangement, maybe the mode of teaching, or what was it that you hated the most?
I mean, personally, from my experience was, I'll say to be, so for my school, it's like I needed to get a certain number of credits, right? Semester hours. So, yeah, and then of course, you need to get a certain number of semester hours. I think it was 120. And then also you need to take all the core classes in your own like department, like your own major. And then you need to take like gen ed courses, right? And then, combination of all those, get 120 hours. And then for me, it just came to a point like, man, I'm done with all this. I've taken classes from the core requirements. I've taken classes from my department. But then still, I need like to make up with like eight credit hours to graduate. So I think for me, it's just like, I feel like I've chosen the classes I like. I mean, the ones that I didn't really like, I've chosen them because it's core requirements. So I'll just say it's like, I wish I had the opportunity to explore other classes that were not necessarily being offered. But I think that was it for me. That's one aspect that I did not like. I guess a less like academic reason would be the fact that my school was in the middle of nowhere. I did not like that. It was really in the trenches, bro. It was hard to find things to do in the town itself. Like, but overall, like I'm so grateful for the experience. Like, will I do it again? Most likely, but it was still nice because I think that environment definitely made those of us that were stuck there to be really close to. We definitely found the bond. Like when you need a ride somewhere, you're definitely going to be friends with someone that has a car, right? Like, so like that kind of. I mean, that's not the only reason, but just because like we mostly didn't have other places to go, or to just like a lot more work to like go to like a slightly bigger city just to like eat better food. Because I think that town had like 6-7 restaurants. And like only one was like the only one that we'll look forward to go to just because like they had better food. But that's just an example. But yeah, overall it's just a great experience. We tried other things that were not as pleasant, but it can't. They're kind of missing from my memory right now.
It's okay. It's because of the FIFA. You're losing.
My God, we love connection.
So, just as we were talking earlier, you mentioned something about education is not all about having to, go into the school to all get the certificate. That there are some people that you can even, people are employing self-taught people now, like some companies are employing self-taught people. And can you give any advice, for anyone that is like planning to succeed in education? Now, it doesn't mean That's whether it is in self-taught or in the uni. Like, are there any advice that you can give, given that you are someone who definitely succeeded in education?
Well, yes. Thanks for the compliment, my guy. Like, I'm not gonna overlook that. Yeah, thanks, bro. But I'd say advice is, man. Honestly, I think I don't know what, like, without any putting it in any order of priority. I would say definitely, like, talk to people, network as much as you can. Be it with your professors, be it with your classmates. It's very important. Like, for example, like when I finished my master's degree, I was looking for jobs. I ended up getting one. But then after I got my job, I started for like a few weeks. I still had like recruiters reaching out to me like, hey, we have this position open. You would think you'd be a great fit. But then I just started I just started my current job. And I mean, I was early into the job. I'm like, I like the job so far. Like, I have no reason to quit, right? But then you have these recruiters messaging me like a lot, like 2 to 3 recruiters.
Messaging you where?
Well, on LinkedIn. So they're messaging me, giving me like, telling me about other open roles. So I had to tell, like, for example, I told a few of them like, hey, like, I just started this job here. I'm not interested in a position. However, I have someone that is still in the job market, and I think you'd equally be a great fit. Like, I'm not saying like I'll be a great fit. I know that's why you're reaching out, right? But also, like, I have someone that will equally be a great fit, and that's how, like, I connected this recruiter with my friend that we went to grad school, and we did lots of like projects together. And yeah, he got the job. I'm like, yeah, bro, you're welcome. Like, that's just an example of networking. So there's someone like, if 5 months before then, if you had asked him like, yo, this guy, if you told him like, yo, this guy will get you a job, no way he would think so, right? That he was just doing his own thing, but like, the opportunity came. So that's just an example of how networking is useful. Second thing would be, depending on what you're studying, self-taught, whatever, put your stuff out there. Like, especially if you're in a technical field, like, especially like something that has to do with coding, definitely put your stuff out there, put it on, build a portfolio. If you're into architecture, build a portfolio of your design, whatever it is that has to do with you showcasing your work, right? Whatever it is, I feel like whatever you do, you can put out your work. Except if you're into like something like health sciences, you did some surgery thing, don't go be putting pictures things out there. Like, don't go put like someone's face with the stitches. I mean, you can still make it work, but I think showcase what you do, right? And try to figure out like, what do you want to do with whatever you study. Talk to people that have been in that particular path, right? And see what you can learn from them. See what advice they can give you. And I didn't forget this advice that I gave on the last one. But yeah, do whatever your parents tell you to do. That's just, they tell you good stuff, obviously. But yeah, I think definitely those are a few things that can definitely get you on the right track, or keep you on the right track, whatever your case may be.
Yeah. So I guess we've definitely had a great conversation, and I mean, the main aim is just hoping that anybody who hears this will be able to pick something from the conversation that will get him or her thinking and trying to see, okay, I want to succeed in education. What Sambo has said, maybe I need to, open a LinkedIn account and get recruiters reaching out to me too, or something of that.
Yeah, that's all networking, right? Like, yeah, definitely that's what the platform is there for. So it's also part of like putting yourself out there. Whatever it may be, it might not be because you're looking for someone to hire you. It may be because you have your own business. All right, how do you market that business to your potential clients, your potential customers? So it's all part of putting yourself out there. Yeah.
Someone was trying to get a job, and then he applied, and then they were like, okay, where's your LinkedIn profile? He was like, I don't have any. They're like, sorry, we can't employ you.
Well, that's a sign. Like, especially when they ask you, that's a sign. Like, yo, go create a LinkedIn profile. Like, go do what you need to do. Right? Don't just be like, I don't have it. Especially if it's something you can do. Right? It's not like they're asking you, like, yo, where's your certificate in this? right? Is there a certificate you can get in one day, or is there a certificate that takes 2 years? I guess you know what to do with that information. But yeah.
Man, it has been a great conversation, man. Do you have any social media platform that people can reach out to you on, maybe to get some more educational advice or something?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, for sure, man. It's always a great conversation, Buske.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess LinkedIn. You can find me Sambo Amaza. You can just put in no space at the end of like the LinkedIn. You can like my personalized URL. You can use that. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter, Sambo_JNR for junior. But yeah, I mean, shish.
Okay, so I mean, there you go. I mean, anybody can always hit you up, to ask some more questions. But I really hope people.
Just be like you're from the Convos with Friends. I was like, yeah, I think I know who hosts that. I think I know who the person is.
So there you go. I mean, this is Sambo Amaza here. We've had a very casual conversation here.